Tawanda Mzuri moved through the busy walkways of Kundalo Market District with a calm smile that everyone recognized. He was the kind of young man who never rushed past someone in need. If an elderly woman struggled with her bags, he lifted them with gentle hands. When travelers looked lost, he guided them through the crowded streets. Shopkeepers called him over whenever they needed an extra hand, and even strangers felt safe asking him for help because his soft voice and humble presence made everyone trust him instantly. People in the market often said, "If Tawanda is around, things feel lighter." He didn't work for praise or attention. He simply enjoyed helping, believing that kindness made communities stronger. But inside his own home, things were very different. His parents watched him leave early and return late, dusty from walking all day, sometimes hungry, sometimes tired. To them, all this helping was pointless. They wanted him to chase money, not spend hours doing things that brought no payment. His father often shook his head and muttered that Tawanda was wasting precious years doing favors for people who would forget him. His mother worried that he wasn't building a secure future. They complained every evening, saying he should stop lifting loads for old men, stop helping vendors arrange their stalls, stop running errands for strangers who never paid him. They didn't understand why he kept giving so much of himself without getting anything in return. Tawanda never argued. He simply listened quietly and kept his heart steady. He knew they meant well, but he also knew something they couldn't yet see. Kindness was an investment, not a loss. When he walked through the streets and heard laughter from children he had helped before, when someone waved with gratitude from their shop door, when travelers thanked him for guiding them safely, he felt a warmth that money couldn't buy. He believed that every act of service planted a seed somewhere, even if no one noticed. Still, the tension at home grew. His parents couldn't understand how their hardworking son could choose to spend his time doing things that didn't increase their family income. And Tawanda, though quiet, carried their worries in his heart. Yet every morning he stepped back into the colorful chaos of the district, ready to help again, unaware that one day, the same kindness they doubted would become the very thing that saved them. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Mzuri, mocked him almost every day as they watched him leave the house with that same calm smile. They didn't understand why their grown son kept lifting bags for strangers who barely knew his name, or why he swept community corners without anyone asking. Whenever they saw him helping vendors arrange their fruit stalls or guiding travelers who wandered into the busy market, they felt frustration rise in their chests. To them, all his effort looked like wasted energy. They couldn't see the joy it brought him, or the way people appreciated his gentle nature. Instead, they only saw lost time. Time that could have been used earning money or building a career. His father would sit outside their small home polishing his work boots and shake his head as Tawanda walked off. "You spend the whole day doing free work," he said, disappointment filling his voice. "People will use you and then forget you." His mother added her own harsh words, reminding him that life was tough and nobody survived by giving everything away. She told him that the world didn't reward kindness, only hard work that brought money. They repeated their warnings so often that even neighbors sometimes overheard them scolding him. But Tawanda never argued. He stood quietly, listening with respect, even when their words stung. Deep inside, he held a belief they couldn't take from him. He knew that helping others built something stronger than wealth. He felt it every time someone thanked him with a warm smile, or offered him a drink after a long day of assisting people. Those small moments told him he was doing something meaningful, even if his parents didn't see it. Still, the pressure was heavy. Every evening he returned home after hours of helping at the market, and his parents questioned him again. They told him that kindness would not shape his life or secure his future. They insisted that he was wasting his youth on people who offered nothing in return. Yet Tawanda stayed steady. He believed that every good deed had a way of returning, maybe not immediately, but someday. And even though he walked away from their criticism with a quiet heart, he didn't realize that the very thing they mocked him for, the simple habit of helping without expecting anything back, would soon become the one thing that would protect them when everything around them fell apart. The community hub in Kundalo was nothing like the calm places people imagined when they heard the word volunteering. It wasn't a forest, and it wasn't near any river. It was a noisy, crowded urban center where long lines formed every day as families searched for food support. Waste piled up at street corners because many homes didn't have proper disposal systems. The air carried a mix of city dust and the smell of cooked food from small stalls. It was messy, loud, and full of people who needed help more than ever. This was the place where Tawanda felt he belonged, even though others avoided it. One afternoon, while helping an elderly man sort recyclables, Tawanda met Naledi Weeksa, a young woman known for organizing food drives and cleanup missions in the district. She moved with purpose, speaking to locals, arranging boxes, and checking lists with a sharp but kind focus. She noticed how quickly Tawanda helped people without waiting to be asked. She approached him with a smile and said she could use someone with his heart and energy. Without hesitation, Tawanda agreed, grateful for a chance to give even more. Joining her small volunteer team opened a new world for him. The group was small but determined, often working late into the evening. They collected leftover food from shops, sorted donations, and created meal packs for families who struggled to eat regularly. They swept alleys, cleaned dumping spots, and talked to residents about keeping the area safe and healthy. It was hard, sweaty work, but Tawanda never complained. He carried heavy boxes, stayed behind to reorganize supplies, and remembered every family's needs. Naledi quickly realized he was different from the average volunteer. He didn't rush through tasks or look for praise. He listened to people, treated them with respect, and showed patience even when situations became chaotic. Soon, whenever something important needed to be done, the team turned to him. He became the person everyone trusted, the one who arrived early, left late, and kept the group steady even on difficult days. Working with the team gave Tawanda something he had never felt so strongly before: purpose. For the first time, he wasn't helping random individuals. He was part of a mission that touched hundreds of lives. And even though the hub was loud and exhausting, he felt more alive there than anywhere else, unaware that this new path would soon lead him into a challenge far greater than anything he had faced. Late in the night, when most of Kundalo was quiet and the market lights had finally gone dark, a deep rumbling sound shook the district. Within minutes, flames burst from the large fuel factory at the edge of the community. The fire rose fast, bright like a burning sky, sending thick black smoke rolling over the streets. People woke up coughing, confused, and terrified. Doors slammed open as families rushed out with children in their arms, not knowing where to run. Panic spread faster than the flames. The air became heavy, hard to breathe, and even the strongest men stumbled as the smoke covered everything. Alarms rang across the district, but the city's emergency teams couldn't keep up. The fire was too big, too sudden, too close to the residential area. Roads became blocked with vehicles trying to escape. Some people didn't even have transport. Others were trapped inside their homes with smoke pouring through windows. The city workers tried their best, but they were overwhelmed. They didn't have enough hands, enough vehicles, or enough time. The disaster was growing by the minute, and the community needed immediate support. Word spread quickly across the volunteer group. Phones buzzed nonstop as messages poured in about families who needed help escaping. Many didn't have masks or safe places to go. Food was disappearing from homes that had been abandoned in a rush. Children were crying on street corners. With the fire spreading and fear rising, the district needed people who knew the area well, people who had walked every narrow alley and back road. This was when the volunteers became the only hope. Not paid officers, not official teams, just ordinary individuals ready to act. Naledi called her group together, her voice sharp with urgency. She knew the situation was far beyond anything they had handled before, but she also knew they couldn't step back. Tawanda felt his heart race, not from fear, but from determination. He knew the district like the back of his hand from years of helping strangers. As the fire kept spreading, the volunteers moved through smoke-filled pathways, guiding residents to safe gathering points, carrying children, checking on elderly neighbors and calming frightened families. People who once saw them as just helpers now watched them become the strongest line of support in the entire district. And while chaos surrounded them, the volunteers became the quiet strength holding the community together, unaware that the danger was about to reach someone very close to Tawanda. When Tawanda checked his phone in the middle of the rescue work, his heart nearly stopped. Messages were flooding in from neighbors on his parents' street. The fire had pushed thick smoke into their whole area, and many houses were already blocked by fallen metal sheets and burning debris. His parents lived close to the fuel factory, and their road was one of the worst hit. People were saying the smoke was so strong that no one could breathe properly, and the heat from the flames was spreading fast. Tawanda felt fear rise in his chest for the first time that night. He tried calling home, but their phone kept ringing without an answer. He imagined them coughing, unable to see through the dark, smoke-filled air, trying to escape but trapped by the chaos outside. They had always been strong and confident, but now they were stuck in a place where even strong people felt helpless. Tawanda grabbed his mask tighter and looked toward the direction of their street, knowing he couldn't waste a second. Emergency workers had already tried to reach that area, but fire blocked one side of the road and collapsed structures blocked the other. The rescue trucks were too big to fit through the narrow back paths. The officers told him it was too dangerous to attempt entry, and that they needed to wait for backup. But waiting meant losing precious time. Every minute the smoke grew thicker. Every minute the fire moved closer. Tawanda realized something painful. His parents were alone, and no official team could save them right now. Naledi saw the fear in his eyes before he even spoke. When he told her what was happening, she understood immediately. The volunteers had one advantage that the larger teams didn't. They knew the shortcuts, the hidden turns, the tight alleyways that only people who walked the district daily understood. Those were the same paths Tawanda had used for years while helping strangers. Now those skills were the only lifeline left for his parents. Without hesitation, the volunteers gathered around him. They didn't care that the road was dangerous. They didn't think twice about what his parents had said about volunteering in the past. All they saw was someone in need, and a son desperate to reach his family. With masks tied tight and flashlights ready, they followed Tawanda into the smoky maze, moving quickly and silently through the dark. The same people his parents once dismissed were now the only ones who could reach them in time. Tawanda moved fast, guiding Naledi and the volunteers into the narrow back alleys that twisted behind the houses. These paths were too small for rescue trucks, but Tawanda knew every turn by heart. He remembered them from years of carrying groceries for old women, helping vendors pack up late at night, and walking children home when their parents were busy. Now those same routes became escape roads through the smoke. The team trusted every direction he gave, following his hand signals as they stepped over broken wood, burning scraps, and fallen wires. Even in the dark, he knew exactly which corner led to which home. When they reached his parents' area, the smoke was so thick the buildings looked like shadows. Tawanda could barely see a few feet ahead, but he kept moving until he heard familiar voices coughing inside their house. He rushed forward, pushed the door open, and found his parents sitting on the floor, weak and struggling to breathe. The shock on their faces when they saw him was mixed with fear and relief. Without wasting time, the volunteers helped carry them out, covering them with wet cloths, guiding them slowly through the safer alleyways. Tawanda stayed close, holding his mother's arm and supporting his father's weight as they moved away from danger. But the rescue didn't end there. Once his parents were safe, the team continued helping other families trapped nearby. They shared water, handed out masks, and delivered food to people who hadn't eaten since the fire started. Some residents were too scared to leave their homes, so volunteers went door to door, bringing them out gently. By dawn, more than 300 people had been assisted, many pulled from dangerous spots, others given supplies or guided to shelters where they could rest. The community looked at the volunteers with deep gratitude, realizing how much strength could come from unity. When Tawanda's parents finally caught their breath and saw the volunteers still working tirelessly, something inside them changed. They watched these same young people they once dismissed, risking their lives to save strangers. They watched their own son, steady and brave, leading the entire rescue effort. Tears filled their eyes as the truth hit them. The hours they had accused him of wasting had become the very thing that saved their lives and the lives of hundreds more. And in that moment, they felt nothing but respect and a quiet, humbled admiration for the son they had once misunderstood. A few days after the fire, the whole district gathered in the open square near the community hub. The air still smelled faintly of smoke, but people stood together with grateful hearts. Families who had been rescued cheered as the volunteers walked onto the small stage. Children held handmade signs saying "Thank you" and "Our heroes." Even the local leaders stepped forward to honor the team, praising their courage, quick action, and teamwork during the crisis. Tawanda stood among them quietly, not seeking attention, but everyone kept calling his name. They knew he had led many of the most dangerous rescues. When the applause settled, Tawanda's parents slowly walked toward the microphone. Many people recognized them, and the crowd grew silent, waiting to hear what they would say. His father cleared his throat, looking at his son with emotional eyes. His mother held his hand tightly, her voice trembling as she spoke. They admitted openly that they had once believed volunteering was a useless habit, something that brought no future, no progress, and no value. They shared how they used to tell their son to stop helping strangers and focus only on work. Then they paused, and everyone could see tears forming as they continued. They said that when they were trapped and scared, the people they once dismissed became the only ones who could reach them. "We once said volunteering was pointless," his father said softly. "But today volunteers saved our lives." The quietness that followed felt heavy and warm at the same time. Tawanda stepped forward, wiping his mother's tears gently. He didn't raise his voice or act proud. Instead, he spoke with the same calm tone he always carried. He told the crowd that kindness was never wasted, even when people didn't understand it. He said that every good act, no matter how small, touched someone eventually. "Kindness always feeds someone," he said softly, "even if you don't see it at first." His words touched everyone there, and the crowd erupted in applause again, louder than before. In the days that followed, his parents surprised everyone by showing up at the volunteer center. They started learning how to pack food supplies, carry boxes, and guide families just like the volunteers who saved them. They told the team they wanted to give back, not out of guilt, but because their son had opened their eyes. From that day on, they stood beside him proudly, ready to serve, finally understanding the true value of his heart. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us share more powerful stories. See you in the next video.